Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much, Stellar, for having us. We're here to talk about how crypto is actually being used. I'm Camila Russo, the founder of the Defiant, the best information source for DeFi and Web3. I'll let the rest of the panelists introduce themselves, please, briefly, so we can get straight to the conversation. Ruben, why don't you go?
Hi, I'm Ruben Galindo. I'm the founder of Airtm, one of the founders of Airtm. We started 10 years ago. We're one of the main wallets on the Stellar ecosystem. We're specifically a USDC wallet that's focused on helping people earn money online. And we also help the places where they work deliver payments to them. There's about 680,000 people that will use our payment service this year to process about more than $1 billion in cross-border payments related to people online earning. However, we also see a lot of use cases that have to do with people's local problems, like preserving wealth, transforming value that they have locked up in some e-wallet, yep, and other very interesting things. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Rick?
Hi, I'm Rick. I'm a co-founder of Decaf, and Decaf is a non-custodial wallet, kind of like MetaMask or Phantom, if you know that, but it feels more like a neobank. So if you know Nubank or Revolut or maybe Wise or Cash App even, yeah, so it provides, we say it's a bank that's global, but on-chain.
Hi, I'm Claire Conby. I'm Executive Director at the Digital Pound Foundation. The Digital Pound Foundation is a non-profit, member-led association, and we advocate for a well-designed digital pound. So whether that be in public form, so a CBDC, or stablecoin, tokenized deposits, ultimately we're working towards a competitive and diverse ecosystem and making sure that any new forms of digital money are well thought through.
Great. OK, so there are about 300 million people in the world that hold crypto. That's just 4% of the global population. And that's just people holding Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies in an exchange. Imagine how small the percentage of people is that's actually using crypto. So we're still very early. I'd like to know, in the panelists' experience and what you know of how crypto is being used, how do you think most people are using crypto? And the few that are, what are some of the emerging use cases that are actually working right now? Let's start with Ruben.
Sure. So I guess when we started 10 years ago, we had this idea of giving people access to stable currency. And so we created the first stablecoin wallet. And because it was very difficult to give people access to dollars in Venezuela, we had to also create essentially a black dollar marketplace where you could buy these virtual dollars amongst peers. And as we sort of grew that marketplace, we started seeing a bunch of adoption for the digital dollar. And it became very clear that that was actually our product, giving access to people to digital dollars, which really serve as a mean to, I guess, to connect to the global economy. And they also are a great tool to hedge against inflation in certain countries, of course. And I guess we've, in the last 10 years, deepened into that use case. Not necessarily from the perspective of helping people save dollars, not that we don't facilitate that, but mainly to help people gain their financial independence by getting more streamlined access to the dollar economy. And all the use cases that we see in Airtm revolve around that. It's businesses, marketplaces in the US that need to deliver mass payments to people throughout the global south, into places where traditional financial services or alternative payment methods like PayPal don't reach very well, where you take 7 days to cash out, you're charged 10%. Crypto, or well, our version of crypto and the infrastructure that we've built for it solves that. And then we also help people who earn money online collect payments from their global employers, either by giving them access to an ACH number that they could use to collect a payment from a US bank, or by receiving payments from our marketplace partners, these American businesses. I will also say that we have a lot of users that leverage Airtm to hedge against inflation. But again, that's more because we give them access to a virtual dollar, less so to crypto. I think they're as crypto-agnostic as one could be. And I will sort of reserve my response to that because I'm not so familiar with other crypto use cases outside the Airtm ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah, just want to remind myself, the question is like, well, how's crypto being used, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the elephant in the room is it's being used to buy meme coins.
Right?
Buy meme coins, to trade meme coins, like dog coins, cat coins, and memes. That's realistically like what we see. And if you believe what you see on Twitter, and if that's what you got your information on how's crypto is being used, you just see that, meme coins. It was actually kind of depressing, I think, at the start of this year to just watch what this industry seemed to be about. The whole narrative and conversation was on this speculation. And I guess there's some legitimate reasons for that, especially with increased inflation. We all saw this talk at Token 2049, how the environment economically is making it really primed for meme coin trading and this chance for gambling, like a ticket to get rich or to get out of this sort of situation I'm in. And so we can't ignore that. But I just heard a talk before from the founder of Yellowcard, and he was saying, yeah, but if you look at certain markets, especially in the global south, it's for payments. People are using crypto as a way to hedge inflation, like what Ruben said, or a way to make payments for businesses or their life. And this story, unfortunately, isn't really ever told, or it's very hidden. It's, if once again, all we're looking at is the information we get from crypto Twitter.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's probably quite a good lead on to where we're at the Digital Pound Foundation. I mean, there's no doubt that cryptocurrencies have highlighted the potential for new technologies to revolutionise payments as we know them today, and that actually there is an appetite for things to be done differently, for payments innovation, embedded finance, smart finance, programmable payments. There's a whole variety of things, I think, that could be offered potentially that offer so much more than what is available in the existing payments landscape. But I think the challenge we have is that transition in terms of, does the average person on the street want a new form of digital money? Like, what features does it need to have in order for it to be kind of a compelling use case that motivates them to switch from their existing method of payment, which pretty much in the UK are pretty good, I would say, to actually then start to use perhaps a stable coin or a central bank digital currency, or indeed crypto. However, I think with the crypto piece, it's interesting because where we're coming from is that form of money that can be used for day-to-day payments where a pound is always worth a pound. So, for example, in the current landscape, you wouldn't typically expect to be able to pay someone their government benefits or their pension or even their salaries in the majority of cases in crypto. So I think it's really around recognising the benefits and the opportunities in the crypto landscape, but actually just translating that into how do we make that a much broader use case and ecosystem, essentially, that then moves along with the digital ecosystem and broader kind of digital environment that we're working towards.
Can I say something contentious?
Of course. Wait, and before you do, I forgot to mention that we will be taking a couple of minutes for questions at the end of the panel. So if you want to use that QR code, go ahead, and then I'll get your questions here. So now you can make the contentious point.
So I'd argue that unless very particular companies try to apply the technology to solve very specific problems, I don't think a real-world consumer will see value on a specific solution. I don't think as an ecosystem, crypto will solve the cross-border payment problems. I think it'll be more entrepreneurs that are very focused on a remittance corridor or on a particular flow, that spend time nurturing and creating the infrastructure and partnerships that you need to actually be able to deliver payments better than Wise from the UK to Kenya. But if someone doesn't really care about that particular corridor, it won't organically be better, I don't think.
No, I think kind of where we're coming from is actually where are the opportunities for innovation that would impact mainstream, and actually therefore where the commercial opportunities might lie, where the businesses, are we going to see traditional banks? Well, we know that traditional banks are showing more and more of an interest in innovation, crypto, stablecoin, tokenized deposits and things like that. And I suppose it's all about what does that broader ecosystem look like? Ultimately there will no doubt be a number of different forms of digital money. And as long as the education is there and people understand the particular use cases for different forms, for different contexts, then that's fine. It's about how they all interrelate and how the consumer knows which form of digital money is right for them.
I'll add something else just to push back on Ruben's point. I don't think it's enough to just create the technology. I actually don't think it's enough for the entrepreneurs to be making partnerships or solving these problems. I actually don't think that's enough. I think that life is about stories, the stories that we tell, and I think, as an industry that's building this technology, we have a responsibility to tell stories about what problems can we solve and what problems are we solving, and as a collective, what are the narratives that we actually put forward? So you may be solving all these problems, and I know you are because I know you. But no one else, does everyone else, And I think, what are the stories we're going to put out to the rest, those outside of this industry, those who are, in government or, some are here today, about what the magic of this technology could be, If all they're hearing, for example, I'll go back to my other point, is just about meme coins and scams, that's what we are. That's what our industry is, And if we stay hidden, solving these problems, how are we going to really make a huge change and push this whole thing forward?
Yeah, just to build on that, again, if that's all right, I know we're probably going completely off what we plan to talk about here, but I think that's right. It's about awareness, it's about understanding, it's about trust, it's about moving forward from perhaps past perceptions maybe, which in part is also due to lack of understanding. And as new forms of digital money and the appetite, which we see already is there to explore further, the innovation, the opportunities that could be there, I think people will then start to develop their own understanding, they will see their own opportunities, and that in itself will just organically make it become more mainstream and kind of more of a consideration in terms of how a digital ecosystem could work most efficiently. But we have, at the Digital Pound Foundation, spent a lot of time thinking about what the compelling use cases could actually be. And you're right, kind of at this level, we are talking about the efficiencies potentially that programmability could bring, efficiencies with regards to government disbursements, charitable disbursements, micropayments. Probably nothing that's that unexpected. And what we would love to really be able to find is that real killer use case that could provide that hook that encourages people to at least be interested in a CBDC or stablecoin or other new form of digital money. But it has to be compelling, and it has to be, or have a sufficient enough impact to really give it the best chance of success. It sounds obvious, doesn't it? But people need to know it, understand it, and see what difference it can make to their lives. And what is that use case that really will incentivize people to change their current form of payment.
So what I'm hearing is some of the main ways people are using crypto are payments is a big one, hedging against inflation, currency volatility, currency controls, especially in emerging markets, and speculation. It's probably kind of the main ones. Meme coins, in indexes, leverage trading via lenders and both in DeFi and CeFi. I think leverage trading is like a main use case, and a lot of what stablecoin volume is actually being used for. Yeah. I think more broadly, stablecoins are probably the major use case to come out of, maybe the first major use case to come out of crypto. It is finally rivaling Visa volume. Last year there was close to 10 trillion of stablecoin volumes. Visa had 14 trillion. So it is getting up there. and the ways that people are using stablecoins is, what we just discussed. Before we get to audience questions, I'd love to maybe pick up on what Rick mentioned on kind of the narratives and the need to tell stories. And I'd love it if all of you can talk about what specific story would you like the mainstream to know about crypto? What use case would you like to see develop further from the ones that we are seeing today? Maybe Claire, you want to start?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm going to come at it from a central bank digital currency or stablecoin perspective. I mean, for me, really, it is around that mainstream use case. Ultimately, that is our focus on that kind of mainstream form of payment. And I think there are real opportunities in the micropayment space, really within kind of recycling, sustainability, kind of incentive rewards. That I think there needs to be that combination of use case that actually does resonate with the user. So something that we can all relate to, receiving a 20p reward for returning or recycling a plastic bottle, for example. Now, that is something that is really, it's topical, everyone understands it, all generations understand it, because there is also a key consideration here that different generations have different understandings, appetites for doing different things. And so I think something that sits within that efficiency, adds something over and above to your life, does something good for the planet, is probably a really good place to start for mainstream. And I recognise that's not the only audience, but just the day-to-day payments. How could a reward in CBDC, for example, actually be better than how things would be done today?
Mm-hmm. Rick?
Yeah, for me, I'll keep it on a very micro level. So right now, there's a woman in Afghanistan who's hiding in a cave. And the Taliban have tried to kill her 5 times now. And the last attempt, she had to get money urgently to go to the hospital and to eat. There was an organization that was trying to get her money urgently. Traditionally, what they would have done is use this service called Telegram or something like that. It had to go from Mexico to through this Telegram service that would end up in a MoneyGram location in one of the cities nearby the caves in Afghanistan. And that would take like 3 days. It would cost them about 20% because it's a pretty illiquid currency in terms of foreign exchange spread. And there was not a certainty that it would actually work by the time it would land there. So imagine you have to get out of the cave, make sure you're not going to get killed on the way to the MoneyGram location, and then it doesn't work because it didn't arrive and the money's been returned. And then it takes another 3 days to get back. This is the state of play for something in a humanitarian aid case. Now, we just did an emergency delivery of money just a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to get, using stable coins and Stellar blockchain, to that MoneyGram location, money to her in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So this went to her so she could eat, go to the hospital, get emergency money there. It saved her life, and her brother's as well. And this was very clear that there wasn't just a little bit like a 20% performance increase. It wasn't like, this is a little bit better. This was not even 100x better. It's something at an order of magnitude even greater than that. And it's like, just take a look at this. You want people to say, your crypto is useless, until you see how it's not. And then this is the sort of story that you go, okay, well, there's very clear reasons that this technology should be in this world, and it does help people, and we should be talking about this.
Amazing story. Ruben, can you match that?
Well, we at Airtm deliver millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in aid, and we see that in real time. There's just some countries in which money flows they're not established yet, and it leaves hundreds of millions of people unattended. But I think Rick did a great job talking about aid. I would like to talk about people who earn money online. There's already 530 million people that work online. There's 12% of the people in the world that work online, which is crazy. And that number is growing and growing. And it's especially growing throughout the global south, well, where people lack opportunities. But what's not sort of growing at the same speed is payment infrastructure that's able to facilitate access to the global digital economy or to the global dollar economy. And why does that matter? Because people are getting paid with PayPal. So I'll tell you the example of La Flora, a content creator that is an influencer within the Airtm ecosystem. I won't say where she works.
Okay.
It's not Dexter or Doxer. But she earns money a little bit. When you're earning money online, it's not a constant flow. You're sometimes earning, you're sometimes not earning. And so whenever you do earn, well, you need to use your money right now. They get paid with PayPal in the specific platform where she works. When she receives that money in PayPal, if she were to use PayPal's native cash outflow, it would take 7 days to reach her country. Not just that, but she would get cashed out at the official exchange rate. She'd be forced to lose up to 30% of their money, given depending on the exchange rate disparity at the time of the cash out. I think that sucks. And of course, she leverages Airtm, and she's able to cash out in 6 minutes, not 2, which is very cool. Still, 6 minutes, I think we're killing it.
Pretty good, nice one.
And at 2.5%. But the big issue that I think the world should sort of realize, and I think we're trying to do our best to help the world understand, maybe I could be more charismatic like Rick, but is the fact that people are getting paid with PayPal. And that is just so messed up, because you're putting hundreds of millions of people in a situation where they can't really complain. You know, who are they going to talk to? Like their platform, their marketplace, where they work, whose main interest is to make more money and generate demand, and so obviously they're focused on that side of their platform. But I think it's really PayPal and you as regulators who shouldn't allow payment methods that don't connect well to different countries to be used to be paid or to pay in different countries. That's abusive. It's so unfair. It's leaving people stranded with broken money. And so that's why we believe in the open money standard. And that's why we use Stellar. It's not because of whatever all the reasons. Very precisely we care about giving people money that they could take away from our platform freely. Because maybe Airtm's not well connected somewhere, in which case they should be able to take it and spend it like cash.
So, and I mean, I think it's interesting to point out also that there are, you know, your solutions which allow people to receive money almost instantly at much cheaper rates, but also that that these major financial institutions and fintechs like PayPal and Stripe and MoneyGram, like all these institutions that were mentioned in the panel, they are also adopting blockchain rails. So yeah, like PayPal has its own stablecoin. Stripe announced a payment system with Stellar just now. So it seems like the financial system is moving slowly but surely to use blockchain rails, and that, you know, these use cases, while small today, will become mainstream, I think, inevitably down the line. I think we got carried away, and there's like no time for questions, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll just we'll have to do like very quick closing remarks. Maybe I don't know who wants to maybe have like a takeaway that you'd want the audience to walk away with.
10 seconds each.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I think if there's entrepreneurs here building on top of Stellar, it's very important that you understand what she's saying, that payments or better payment infrastructure is being adopted, and no one's going to beat any of the incumbents by just having better payment infrastructure. So it boosts us all to understand what else, on top of payments, now that they're commoditized, we're going to offer the market to make it, actually better.
Yeah.
Crypto's a scam until it saves your life. Please tell the stories. We need it as an industry.
Nice.
I think the time is right to be exploring payments innovation, so I think the appetite is there, but for me the key is around education and also the regulatory landscape to really enable that innovation to reach its potential.
We didn't even get to talk about the regulatory landscape.
I
but
know,
that's
I had to get it in there.
All right, thank you so much everyone for joining.